minutes. It takes overtime to decide it. Vasilevsky coming up with some incredible saves. One of the biggest things that they were talking about was if Vasilevsky can get his numbers right, the Lightning can finally get out of the first round again. And so far, it looks like it's the case.
Well, I think the inability for Tampa to not score on a power play is the difference in the series right now. I mean, they've been awful, and Montreal's been okay, not amazing, but they've definitely been a lot better than Tampa on the power play. So that seems to be the big difference in the series right now. But yeah, I mean, Dobush played well, which is a nice sign if you're a Montreal fan. But Game 7 should be fun back in Tampa. I think the Bolts could do it.
Now that's tomorrow, I believe. They get the 1 day rest, and then Game 7 tomorrow between Tampa Bay and Montreal. Round 2 does start today. Yeah, that is great. It's weird how the schedule is going this year, but what I will say is I don't want to completely jump from the East to the West, but I do want to talk about a series in the East that we kind of a series in the West that we kind of talked about. The Ducks and the Oilers. And I think I said a couple weeks ago on the show, are we underestimating Joe Quenneville's ability to get a team going in the playoffs? Now, I think that's not the only factor here, of course. You've got Connor McDavid, who's played a lot of hockey. The Edmonton Oilers team as a whole, they played a lot of hockey in the last 3 years. They also still lack goaltending, but for the Ducks to come out on top in that series, I want to say I'm surprised, but there's a part of me that's like, you know what? I'm actually not surprised with who's behind the bench for Anaheim.
No, I don't think this got so much more to do with what's wrong with Edmonton as opposed to a big jump in play. Like Anaheim was coming into a year, regardless of who was behind the bench, that they needed to make that step forward. Kind of like what we expected with the Blackhawks. You want to see a little bit of progression. Like Anaheim has that mixture of young talent, and with Kreider and adding Carlson, they were showing you that they were going all in. So I don't know if I'm surprised, but I mean, it's just amazing how Edmonton just is so ignorant to the fact that you have to play defense to win championships, and they just refuse to get the team better in that regard in any factor every year. It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think that the time is ticking for Connor McDavid and Edmonton. This was already a discussion last year after they lose the finals once again. I don't know if I see it being this year. A lot of people are calling for McDavid's out, but one of the things I saw was that I think it was a tweet that they were saying, if you're the Edmonton Oilers, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and maybe consider you being the worst franchise in all of sports, in the entire world. And I know that's harsh criticism. That's terrible criticism. But you have wasted probably the greatest hockey player, when it's all said and done, you've wasted the greatest hockey player's prime of his career. You've wasted all of McDavid's 20s.
Yeah, and now he's on what the greatest bargain that the NHL has ever seen, as far as making $13-12 million a year. So no, it's gonna be exciting when he's a free agent and he goes somewhere else. It's gonna be bigger than when Peyton Manning. It's gonna be like when LeBron James was a free agent. Honestly, I mean that's kind of what it's comparable to. That's about the only thing that's really comparable to. But I think the writing's on the wall. It's inevitable. It's gonna be exciting. What's Draisaitl thinking right now? Because Draisaitl signed a 6-year, 8-year deal too. So he's kind of stuck there. So if McDavid leaves, it's just gonna be Draisaitl by himself.
I don't know if you're gonna stick that out if you're Draisaitl. I think maybe you kind of try to opt out of that contract, get a trade going somewhere. Maybe somebody eats some salary. But yeah, you're talking about the hometown discount that Connor McDavid's on. It's so tough because you want this man to have success, and you kind of want him to have it in Edmonton because that's where he's been, and you want to see a guy stick it through. But after the organization has failed him so many times, you can't help but justify and understand him wanting to leave that organization and go somewhere else. Now, does he go to Chicago like a lot of people are calling for it? I don't think so. I don't think that there's enough salary cap to afford him, because it wouldn't be a hometown discount at that point anymore. And I'm not saying Connor McDavid is from Edmonton, but he's getting that discount to try to go on cup runs with the Oilers, and it's not happening. This has got to be a complete rethink for them. I mean, I know we talked about the Leafs before the playoffs started, but all these Canadian teams, especially the ones that are losing their American-borns, Connor Hellebuyck came out in his closing interviews at the end of the season and said this is unacceptable, basically. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but he's not pleased being in Winnipeg right now. They went from President's Trophy winners to missing the playoffs. You can't have that when you have the greatest goaltender in the world right now, especially coming off of his Olympic season. So there's that. There's Brady Tkachuk in Ottawa. We'll talk a lot more of this, I think, going into free agency. But what's another series that has been really exciting for you thus far?
Oh, I mean, the Minnesota Dallas series was really good. Unfortunately, it ended in the wrong way for me. But it's been great hockey, though.
I won't say that there was a wrong way for me because as a Blackhawks fan, you're rooting against division rivals in Dallas and Minnesota. I kind of was leaning Minnesota just because of the Quinn Hughes thing and the fact that Minnesota has been Chicago's whipping boy basically for a number of years and couldn't get out of that first round. I kind of want to see them have success, but like it almost still feels wrong to say because they're a rival. But I'm happy for the fans of Minnesota and the state of hockey that they're finally getting to round two. Let's see if they can make it to a Western Conference final. I thought that series would go seven, but Wild in six, man. Wild are going to go up against the Avs. And as I said, we wouldn't jump from the East. We might as well just continue with the West. The Avalanche making short work of the Kings. Yeah,
Yeah.
we could leave that
Do
one off.
do you want to talk about our favorite playoff team right now? Chicago Wolves.
We could talk about Wolves, although I do have a special surprise for us. We should be joined a little later by Hannah Arbitman. So we'll get a little bit more Wolves talk in depth when she gets on. But yes, the Wolves are in round one of the AHL playoffs, the Calder Cup playoffs. They were playing the Texas Stars. So another reason to root against Dallas and Texas, right? But the Wolves dropped game one. This is a team that they were 1-6-1 against in the regular season. So we were talking to Dom Fensori on this very show, and he talked about how that was gonna be my transition. Spoiling the lead.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
I'm doing terrible at this business.
But no, I mean that first game, it looks a lot like the regular season where the Wolves are outmatched, outshot. They lose the game to Texas. These first two are in Texas. The Wolves, despite their head-to-head record against Texas, they have the home ice advantage. So games three and a possible 4 and 5 will be at home. Now we know that they're going to at least four because Dom Fensori, like you said, the overtime hero for the Wolves in game two to even things up. You got to steal one on the road, right? My paisan, yes, exactly. And yeah, just a great opportunity for the Wolves to come home tonight, get a win tomorrow in game four, hopefully close the series out at that point. If not, game five would be on Cinco de Mayo on Tuesday. So I know you'll be in attendance tonight. I'll be there tomorrow with you. What are you expecting out of this Wolves series?
I have no idea what to expect. It's the first game, 2-0. Was there an empty netter? Was it both? I can't remember off the top of my head. But then you get the 5-4 game in game two, so it's a completely different. I mean, style, flow, everything. So I have no idea what to expect going into game three. I would expect the energy to be a little bit higher. The forecheck is probably going to be the difference for the Wolves tonight, and I expect the fourth line to create some havoc. That's kind of like the checklist for a Wolves win, in my opinion.
Let's hope that is the case. I mean, we've seen this Wolves team up close throughout the entire season, and I've enjoyed what I've seen from the Wolves. But I mean, it's playoff time. It's a different beast. It's a different animal. So, and especially when it comes to AHL playoffs and the Calder Cup, because you're playing in your division that you've mostly played in all season long. And as soon as you get out of that division, if you get out of that division, we also have to talk about Sophia Blackburn's Grand Rapids Griffins. That's going to be probably who the Wolves will face if they can make it past the Texas Stars. And then you're going up against not only one of the best teams in the league in Grand Rapids, but if you even get out of there, now you're playing a bunch of teams from a bunch of divisions that you haven't seen all season. So, I mean, AHL is a little different because the travel is limited. So these are going to be teams that it could be a complete crapshoot based on like, who is moving on in the playoffs after round two because you haven't seen that style of play or that competition necessarily from that team. But I think two teams that didn't see each other's style of play were on completely different levels: Carolina and Ottawa. And boy, oh boy, Ottawa, they banished that one guy who made the song all the way to, what was he in? What country was he in? Was he in
it's
Hong Kong? No, is he in China?
I can't remember. But yeah, I just remember the song was terrible.
It was the song itself, yes,
It
was
was awful.
100% terrible. I don't think they banished him far enough. They should have sent him to the moon because it still wasn't enough for the Senators to get a win in this playoff series. They get swept by the Carolina Hurricanes. Are the Carolina Hurricanes finally real? Do they finally have that star that's going to take them over the hump?
No, this is literally the same old Carolina Hurricanes. I mean, Freddie Anderson is healthy right now, which hopefully that stays because, they're a better team obviously when he's in net. But yeah, I don't know. This feels like the same old Carolina Hurricanes team. Same, the rinse, wash, repeat. Sebastian Aho point per game. You already know what you're getting. I have no faith in the Hurricanes.
I hate to hear that as somebody who used to cover the Hurricanes, but I also know it all too well that this is still not enough to get them over that hump. So
they put Justin Robidas in the lineup for the Hurricanes, then you're talking about a superstar. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, that should have been my transition, is the jump from AHL to NHL, because the Wolves are in it and their NHL affiliate, the Carolina Hurricanes, moving on to the second round. It was a pretty quick and easy series against the Senators, who I don't know if they really should have been in the playoffs. Anyways, the format is what it is. But yeah, as you said, I mean, maybe they get some call ups. I don't know.
And the Buffalo, we haven't even talked about the Sabres yet either. First time since 2004 since they won a playoff series. So Buffalo had to be wild last night. I mean, was there anywhere better to be on a Friday night than Buffalo last night?
Probably not. I mean, Buffalo has shocked a lot of people throughout the regular season here, turning their season completely around. But I don't think it's a shocker to see what they're doing here in the playoffs if you've been paying attention to what they did in that latter half of the season. Because, boy, oh boy, I had them I picked them to win this series, and I thought they were going to do it. That was game 6. So yeah, I think I did have them in 6. So I had it right on the nose. But I mean, Boston, don't count them out. Like, even picking my bracket, I was like, they're always in the dance. They're pesky. They always somehow get here to the playoffs. And, you just got to actually, play the games, play the series, and survive them too. Boston's always a very heavy, tough team. I mean, they've added a little bit more skill as of late with guys like Pasternak, but I mean, for them to still be making playoffs is impressive. But yeah, Buffalo gets the better of them, and good for Buffalo. Happy for them. Like you said, it's been since like 2004 since they've actually won a playoff series. It's been since 2010 or 2011 since they've been in the playoffs. I know we gave that stat a couple weeks back, but boy, oh boy, that was an exciting series to watch. And now we're going to have Buffalo versus who's lined up in that bracket?
The winner of Montreal.
Oh, right. Yeah, we're still waiting a winner for that one. So Montreal, Tampa Bay, game 7 will decide who Buffalo is matching up against in round 2. As much as I kind of want it to be your Lightning, because I also have an affinity for the Lightning. Sorry, other Blackhawks fans. I know 2015 I was solely rooting for the Blackhawks, but grandparents grew up down in Tampa, so I had a little bit of fun rooting for them throughout the years, and they had some incredible players. They still do. But if the torch is passed to Montreal and Martin St. Louis takes that team to round 2, a Martin St. Louis led Montreal Canadiens versus the Buffalo Sabres and them doing what they've done, I mean, that would be a series to watch and a half.
Yeah, and it would just come down to goaltending again. Like, I think that would be the most interesting part, is the Alex Lyon versus Jacob Dobish storyline that you would get. So yeah, I mean, as a Lightning fan, I hope you're wrong with the storyline. Again, I actually picked that matchup. I think Montreal does win Game 7 in my heart. And I don't think it, but in my head I do. But yeah, we'll see. We're not putting the cart before the horse here, Michael.
Right.
We're calming down. Yeah, we'll look to the storylines when we get there.
That's fair. Series that we haven't gone over yet: Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. I maybe I just haven't tuned into what Philly's been doing all year, but I still had the old guard winning this series with Sidney Crosby. I mean, yes, it's an older team that barely squeaked in, but like, I didn't see Philadelphia being real, and I was surprised on this one. I'll take the bullet on this one and say that my bracket's wrong now. In fact, I had Pittsburgh. I thought it was going to be a much easier road for them. I don't think I had them in 5. I might have had them in 6, but I at least had them going. I think I had them going. Although maybe I changed it. I think I had them going to the Eastern Conference Finals, which now thinking about that sounds crazy, but like, Yeah, I mean, listen, I can't bet against Sidney Crosby, although now I think it's finally done. I think they've slain the beast, and we got an incredible battle of Pennsylvania, nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, working with a Philadelphia outlet, I paid a little bit more attention to the Flyers. They play well. Rick Tocchet's got them like forechecking well when they're. I mean, that's kind of like the mo. And when Vladder's playing well, that's kind of when the Flyers kind of are humming, if you will. So it's exciting to see them moving on. I think either team is fluky. I don't think either team was going to really be able to get past the second round. So it's kind of like to the ceiling. But I mean, if Philly's power play can continue to roll the way they have been too, they've been up there. I think they're second or third in the playoffs right now on the power play. So if they can continue to do that, the sky is the limit for the Flyers.
It's impressive, and they're doing it without Michkov. Like Michkov was a healthy scratch, and I believe Game 5, and you almost thought that the Pittsburgh Penguins were going to take things the other way, right, and come back and reverse sweep in the series because they were down 3-0, I believe. Yeah, they had to make a goaltending switch. Go figure. The two teams that traded goaltenders that we said I don't know if it was at the trade deadline, but earlier on in the season, we said, they basically traded apples for apples. Like Stuart Skinner and Tristan Jarry were the same person, just one was in the East and one was in the West. And then after the trade, it was reversed. Like you're not getting better goaltending from one or the other. It was the same result. And sure enough, both of those teams out in the first round. It wasn't enough. And goaltending was a lot of the issues. So, but yeah, I think that that dynasty, that regime is finally over. As a Blackhawks fan, I know what that feels like, but you still want to see Crosby do well. And I think he stays with Pittsburgh. I don't know about you. Do you think he stays with Pittsburgh?
I think either stays or retires. Yeah, I feel like him and Ovi are probably. I don't know if they're going to go away at the same time, but it feels like they might, be in talks. Like, all right, maybe we'll step away together because they came in together, so they might as well leave together. I think that would be very like wholesome.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. But then again, Ovi pushed away all the handshakes this year, so I think he might be staying. So does that mean that probably means by that logic, Sid stays? And I'm not complaining. I mean, I want to see Sidney Crosby play more hockey. I want to see Alexander Ovechkin play more hockey. Heck, I want to see Patrick Kane play some more hockey and maybe in a different type of red jersey. But we can't always get what we want. But we'll see what happens going into next year. We still have playoffs moving along here. What series have we not gone over? The other one that was on last night was Utah and Vegas. Did you see Vegas was
shorthanded in double overtime? Shorthanded in double overtime in Game 5, and they score, and they. I thought Utah was going to win this series. I thought their speed was going to make a big difference, especially after Game, I think 2. It looked like Utah was going to take over. I don't know how you felt.
I was having this conversation last night, and I did feel kind of that same way. Like, oh wow, I kind of underestimated Utah, and I'm sorry, I was not familiar with your game, right? Like, I thought Utah could have made more of a push in this series. Like you said, scoring shorthanded didn't help them. The Vegas Golden Knights scoring shorthanded didn't help them, especially to seal the game in overtime. But the biggest thing to me was Utah ownership, Ryan Smith allowing fans, I don't know if we talked about this last week, allowing fans to turn in their Vegas jerseys. Now, I didn't understand this at first. I was like, are Vegas fans really like turning their back on their team just because they lost one playoff game? But you realize, right, yeah, a lot of people in Utah, because there was no other team around until the Coyotes moved to Utah, they became Golden Knights fans. So a lot of them bought Golden Knights jerseys, but now they have their own team. So there was a jersey swap outside of the stadium where teams, or the team itself, Utah, was giving away free jerseys so long as you turned in your Golden Knights jersey. I mean, what a move, huh?
Flex. Yeah, it's a great social media flex and kind of a troll at the same time. Yeah, it was great. It's good marketing by Utah.
Yeah, no doubt. And they're doing the right things over there. Going back to kind of your initial question, I knew that Utah would win a game because it's their first time in the playoffs as Utah. I figured, all right, they're going to want to get one under their belts. And I didn't know if it would be 2, especially with Vegas and their power, or not just their power play, but their postseason experience. They have a little bit more under their belt. But Utah surprised me more than I thought. I think you're going to see them take that next step next year. And then also maybe Vegas, they win the series last night, as we mentioned, a dominant, I believe that was a 5-1 final. And we'll see them moving on to play the Anaheim Ducks. So Anaheim versus Vegas. We've got Minnesota versus Colorado. We've got on the East Coast, it'll be Carolina versus Philly. And then, like we said, we're awaiting the winner between the Buffalo Sabres and then whoever wins that series of Montreal and Tampa. So playoffs have been very exciting, and we're going to have a lot more coverage of it here on AM 1410 WRMN. You're listening to On the Rise. We're live on location from Wintrust Field, where the Schaumburg Boomers play. They'll have their third preseason game here behind us at 1 p.m. today against the Windy City Thunderbolts. Myself and joining us in a little while, and plenty more to talk about, whether it is hockey, get some more AHL news, got some soccer, and then plenty of baseball. Yeah, that's true. We've got White Sox, Cubs, Cougars will be starting soon. We had a game at a prison, the old Joliet prison. And then, of course, we've got the Schaumburg Boomers who are starting behind.
Progressive presents the Sports Flash on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN.
The Cubs start a series this afternoon hosting the Diamondbacks. 3-1 Colin Ray starts against Arizona's Zach Gallen. He's 1-1. The 19-12 Cubs have wins in 7 of 10 and 2 straight. Noah Schultz starts for the White Sox at San Diego tonight. Schultz 1-1 on the season. He'll face 3-1 Germán Marquez. 3 straight wins for the Sox, who sit 3 games under 500 at 14-17. The Cardinals beat the Pirates 10-5 in Pittsburgh Thursday. That completes a 4-game sweep. J.J. Weatherholt led off with a home run against Paul Skeens, who got tagged for 5 runs over 5 innings. 4 of those were earned. Pittsburgh's losing streak hit 5. Alec Burleson finished with 3 hits and drove in 3 runs for the Cards. Weatherholt, Pedro Pajas, and Nolan Gorman each with 2 hits. The Cards head back home to welcome the Dodgers for a series.
Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive. I'm Chuck Sanders on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
If you're only good to your new friends, you're not going to have any old ones. Straight Talk gets it. That's why new and existing customers get free 5G phones on Verizon's 5G network. Pretty simple, really. You keep good people by being good people.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Building a house is hard, but have you tried removing one? Flood Brothers takes the mess out of demolition. With fast roll-off dumpster delivery, reliable debris pickup, and a family-owned team that takes service personally. Call 630-261-0400 or visit floodbrothersdisposal.com. Flood Brothers Disposal, proud sponsor of America's First Responders Fest.
There's a price war in the insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call the Term Lifeline right now and see if you can save 40%. $500,000 plans and up, that's our specialty. Even great smokers' rates. Protect your family today. Call the Term Lifeline right now for a free quote. 866-509-TERM. 866-509-TERM. 866-509-TERM.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast, brought to you by KFC. A flood warning is in effect until 7 a.m. Monday for the listening area. This afternoon, mostly sunny with a high near 56. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 40. Looking ahead to Sunday, a chance of rain showers with partly sunny skies and a high near 67. Currently, it's 46 and clear. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
Hi, I'm Zoe, a personal stylist at Macy's Herald Square, and I live for our friends and family sale because I can say yes to the brands my customers have been eyeing, like BCBG, 30% off, Kendra Scott, 30% off, Steve Madden, Levi's, yep, 30 off. And yes, there's 15 off Macy's Beauty and Fragrance too. Yes, you can also sign up for Star Rewards and earn faster at Macy's Friends and Family today. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
For letting us come in here and do this. We've got more sports to talk for you. We're kind of going in the backwards order today because we're going to kind of like leave the baseball talk for the very end of this show, even though that is what's going on and it's been most pressing right now these days. But we were going to be able to talk to some baseball personnel later on here during the show. So for right now, we'll continue on with some other things. We've got some more AHL talk. I mean, we've got Wolves coming on. Like I said, we will have Hannah Arbitman maybe poking her head in later here today. It'll be the first time she's live in studio with us because we came to her, basically. We came to her office for this one. And then also we'll talk a little bit about, might as well jump into this right now. Chicago Fire are on fire. Yeah. They have won a bunch of games in a row. I don't have my notes in front of me.
They lost the other night. What cup is that they play in?
Oh, I do have my notes in front of me. Just kidding. So that was the U.S. Open Cup that they lost. Unfortunate. So they went up 1-0 against St. Louis City SC. Unfortunately, St. Louis gets 2 late goals Wednesday night at SeatGeek Stadium and takes the round of 16 from the Chicago Fire. So the Chicago Fire bounced. They got their first win in the round of 32 against the Detroit team. So if you're not familiar with the U.S. Open Cup, it's MLS teams versus teams of all other different leagues throughout North America. So you're going to have some like semi-pro teams. I believe there is, I'm drawing a blank on where the Indy 11 and the Tampa Bay Rowdies play. I believe that's the, it's whatever league. So think of it like AHL to the NHL. So you're going to probably get a win in your first round in the round of 32 against Detroit. That's what the Fire do, a 2-1 victory. And then St. Louis comes to town and sneaks one away. St. Louis is sitting at the almost absolute bottom of the MLS table, though. So this was surprising that the Fire kind of let them sneak into this game because especially a team that is basically neck and neck with St. Louis at the basement of the MLS standings is Sporting Kansas City, and the Fire a 5-0 victory against Sporting. Yeah, exactly. A rout indeed against Sporting KC over the weekend. They will play Cincinnati today. That was a game in which the Fire were winning 3-1 in Cincinnati just a couple weeks ago. Cincinnati comes back and draws in extra time. So the Fire, they didn't lose. They're still on a streak here. Last time the Fire lost a game, we're going back to March 14th, a 2-1 final against DC United, and that's actually the last time the Fire have trailed since this St. Louis game, but last time they've trailed in MLS competition going back into March. So we're getting into May here, and the Fire are looking to get those extra points against FC Cincinnati this time rather than a draw. I'll take it over to the man from Cincinnati area. What are your thoughts?
No, I mean, the Fire are playing well. They're third in the table right now in the East, which is great. I mean, we had Jim on earlier this year, and he kept talking about like a successful season or what the Fire are looking to do to take that next step forward is being in a top 6 seed in the table, not having to be in, a play-in round or whatever the case may be. And, right now they're playing well. So, I mean, all things look great. The stadium's getting built. So the Chicago Fire are kind of on a nice trajectory right now.
That's true. I mean, a lot of great things happening for Chicago soccer, at least on the men's side. The women, when we talk about the Stars, got to get going a little bit. They're still struggling to get their points in the NWSL. But one thing I did notice, each one of those players. I believe it was it ESPN 1000 Chicago that posted a list of the top 10 players right now in Chicago sports. Of course, leading the way, Caleb Williams and Connor Bedard, right? But at the very bottom of that list, sneaking in there, Hugo Kuipers for the Chicago Fire and Mallory Swanson, who is back. She was pregnant last year, had to take the season off, of course, obviously, a little maternal leave right there, but back to compete with this Stars team. I'll get a chance to see them on Sunday. You've already gotten a chance to see them at, what are your thoughts? What are you laughing about over here?
If she was pregnant and played, would that be like a too many women on the field situation? Anyway, that's why I was giggling. But no, to your point, they've been struggling with offensive consistency. That's kind of the MO of the Stars this season. They play well on defense, and they have a scrappy mentality. They just have a certain way they have to win, and a lot of that comes from their production on offense. And when they can get 2 goals or a goal, they're usually pretty good, especially when they score first to be able to set the tone. But that hasn't been as consistent as they would have liked this season so far.
They're currently sitting 14th in the NWSL. That should be, if I'm reading this correctly, last place, unfortunately.
No,
second last place? 16 team. So there should be the 5th. Oh, yeah, okay. Tied with, okay, yeah. Well, they did get a win over Boston Saturday, last Saturday, April 25th, a 2-0 victory. But then Wednesday night, they gave up 2 early goals within the first 19 minutes to Gotham FC. Now, Gotham, a great team. Are they still leading the pack? They're kind of middle of the pack right now, right? 4. Okay, so still towards the top of the table, but Gotham actually absolutely taking it to the Stars at home. Stars will be back in action Sunday. That'll be a matchup at 1 o'clock. Actually, noon against the Portland Thorns. They'll be back on the road the next week. Yeah, so ESPN2, so yeah, the Deuce. So yeah, the Chicago Stars FC looking to get back into things. What's that record? Do you have that right there? Oh, I could just click on table right here. I don't have my usual notes in front of me right now.
It's 2-0-5.
It's not great. You got to get some of those losses to be draws if you really want to add some points. Because if you think about it, okay, those 5 losses, if at least 2 of them are draws, you're looking at 2 more points in the table. You jump up to 8th, and now you're flirting with one of those final playoff spots right now. I mean, the season's still early. We're going to have a long pause during both the men and women's season, both for FIFA and for international tournaments that happen throughout the summer. And then, of course, there is actually a work stoppage that is mandated for, I think, at least a week for the NWSL. So the ladies will get a little bit of a rest, come back in the fall, and then we will resume there. But talking about ladies, we didn't get a chance to really describe it last week, but I want to talk a little bit about the Chicago Sky. Because you attended their draft party, and there are some exciting new prospects coming to this Sky team. So what can you from that previous Monday night draft party?
Well, we talked about it a little bit last week. They they traded their second first round pick, I believe. But it was a great atmosphere. I mean, as far now you're telling me to go back 2 weeks, and I'm struggling to remember. But no, it was a great time. It's going to be exciting. Obviously, the news of Angel Reese getting traded is kind of what is leading into this offseason, or kind of, I guess going into this season is kind of the big storyline. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. But it seems the ball, watching their couple preseason games so far, it does seem like the ball moves around a little bit better around the court. It doesn't seem to get stuck in one spot as frequently as it used to in previous years. But it's still early. We're going to see hopefully some growth from, Haley Van Lith, Maddie Westbeld has gotten some extra time, and then obviously Vandersloot coming back. We'll see how that kind of mixes the youngins with the veterans, and you still have your staples like your Rachel Bannums and things of that nature. So it'll be interesting to see how they stretch the floor, and if they're going to utilize Cardoso the way that they were kind of using the quote unquote twin towers that they had between Angel Reese and Cardoso. So.
That is true. I mean, you still have your Haley Van Lith. You're hoping, I think we talked a bit about this last week. You're hoping that Courtney Vandersloot is healthy and, with her age at this point, that she can still do her thing. Like you mentioned, Camila Cardoso, Rachel Bannum, it was announced that she re-upped with this Sky team. So there's a lot of positives coming back for the Sky. Of course, they part ways with Angel Reese. Instead, it looks like their main go-to girl now is Gabriela Jaquez.
Riga Jackson too.
Rika Jackson. She was actually listed, that top 10 list that I was talking about. She was listed on that one as well. Haven't seen her actually play though in a Sky jersey. It was the same as they listed Daniel Tiedemann. As a Drew Tiedemann, who the Bears just drafted with that first pick. They haven't played a game in Chicago yet. So for me to say that they're on the top 10 list of Tiedemann, like I don't know. Like that's a tough one for me to throw them on that top 10 list without having seen them play a game at that level with that team. But it should be exciting nonetheless, both with Sky and with Bears. So I know we talked Bears last week. The remainder of the draft happened on that Saturday after we got off the microphones. Let me just actually take a look here. Do we know what happened in that final round for the Bears? I didn't actually pull that up. I don't know if you had it on there.
The 7th round?
Yeah.
No.
I didn't. That's an analysis of every pick. See, this is what happens when we're live on location and I don't have like my notes in front of me, but that's fine. We're chugging along here. Instead of jumping right into Bears, there's another event going on here today that everybody is talking about. And I don't mean here today as in like at Wintrust Field, because we are live on location from Wintrust Field where the Schaumburg Boomers play here in Schaumburg for On the Rise, myself, Mike Napolitano, and Dalton Cooper. I don't know if you follow this much. I don't personally, but I lend my ear when it comes around every year. The Kentucky Derby is today. Do you have anything that you should throw out to the fans as what horses to look out for?
Well, as you know, I'm a big horse connoisseur. Not at all. But I do know there hasn't been a rail winner in like almost 40 years, or maybe a little over 40 years. So the favorite of the Kentucky Derby, I cannot remember the horse's name, is on the rail today, which I don't know how familiar you are with the rail, Michael, but that's the first spot. Yeah. So I think it's been since the 80s since we've seen a winner come from that position. But outside of that, I think slot 9, I believe, or slot 10 was a good pick. Wonder Dean, I believe, was a good pick from the people that I value my horse racing thoughts and opinions from. Do you have a pick for the people? I mean, you're a big Derby guy, right? You gotta be with that mustache.
No, I am. I did hear something like you said about Wonder Dean. I heard something about Litmus Test sitting in the 4th spot. You're talking about Renegade at the top there, as we have the list now pulled up in front of us. It's a cool name. I would kind of want to go for Renegade, but at the same time, like if that rail is a killer for most horses, maybe poor choice of words there. Hopefully that's not the case, but still 5-1 odds though for Renegade. The next one right down Albus in that 2 spot is 50-1. Then it gets 55-1. Litmus Test 34-1. So like I was saying, that's a little bit better of a take.
1986. Last time a rail winner came from the Kentucky Derby was 1986.
Ooh. Yeah. Okay. All right.
So,
we also have 7-1 for the 6th spot, Commandment. So I mean, those are good odds. So Happy in 8th, 6-1, and the Puma in that 9th spot that you were kind of alluding to, 8-1. Chief
the Puma
Wallaby
got scratched.
Oh, Puma's scratched, huh?
Yeah, the Puma has.
This is not updated.
This is like as of like an hour ago. Yeah, the Puma has been scratched from the Kentucky Derby, so it'll be 19 horses instead of 20 running today.
Well, you see, you're supposed to have horses run, not Pumas. So I mean. I can see why that got scratched. But no, all jokes aside, should be fun. It's the 153rd running of the Kentucky Derby. That'll happen later on today. We're about 8 hours away from the actual race. They got the clock timer for us here, so that should be exciting. Speaking of races, I know, is it Jeff's Train World that always jumps in our chat and talks about racing? Jeff, we're in the month of May now, and I can disclose this. WRMN AM 1410 on the rise. We will be at the Indy 500 once again this year, so looking to cover that for you. And then, of course, NASCAR comes to Chicago, but not the actual street race. They're coming to Joliet in the fall. Over that same, I didn't want to say fall, July 4th weekend, the holiday weekend. So we may be there, still waiting on information for that, but we are for sure in for Indy 500, so that should be fun. Going to be a jam-packed summer for WRMN. But I mentioned Joliet.
Yeah,
we're gonna
hear about this.
We're gonna get Matt Shepardson on in just a little bit. I'm going to go poke him, see if he'll come on and talk with us for a little bit. He is the deputy commissioner of the Frontier League. But we have to talk a little bit about the crazy, unique, almost groundbreaking event that happened Thursday during the day. It was the Big House Ball Game, not Big Top Sports, Big House Ball Game happening at the Old Joliet Prison. Now, anybody who knows me knows I have the haunt side of my life. You're seeing the stickers maybe even on the laptop here, but what was I going to say? The
crossover.
The crossover of it is a good word for it. You have, of course, the Old Joliet Haunted Prison, which is the attraction, which unfortunately got the news that they were going to be closing their doors for 2026. As Nick Johnson was joking last week, he's like, no, you can't pay people in candy. That wasn't the case. Sounds like there's some legislative things going on behind the scenes. I can't really speak on them. I didn't sign any NDA. So once I get the information, I can probably throw things out there. But there's a lot of allegedlys at this point. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. All I know is there were some prison inmates, is what they call themselves, the staff from the Old Joliet Haunted Prison, in attendance for this Big House Ball Game. But this took place on the other side, the main side of the prison that you've seen in both Blues Brothers and Prison Break. So, I mean, there's a lot of history at that prison, not just with the fact that it predates the Civil War, not just the fact that it was a stop on the Underground Railroad, not just the fact that the prisoners themselves built those walls out of the limestone that they dug out of the quarry, but we're talking, they actually used to play baseball there. So this was kind of a bringing back of the guard. No pun intended, but bringing back of the guard, because they fit this baseball stadium in where it was originally. A couple of tweaks, of course, to make it modernized, but it was still very small. So think Iowa, Field of Dreams, the cornfields, how everything was going out for the White Sox or any of the other teams that have played there with those shorter walls. That was the case in this game, but if it had to hit a certain height of the wall, otherwise they were ruling it a ground rule double. The final score, 14-3 in favor of the Gateway Grizzlies. But you might be wondering, why are the Gateway Grizzlies in this game? Why is it not Slammers versus Windy City? Because they're a little bit closer to each other, or Slammers versus the Boomers. We saw that matchup here at Wintrust yesterday. It was a 7-7 tie, but going back to Thursday, it's because the Gateway Grizzlies, and I'm sure Blake Cowell can tell us, being down in St. Louis and attending a couple of Grizzlies games, Gateway Grizzlies and the Joliet Slammers both have Route 66 running by their stadiums. And this is the centennial celebration, 100 years, for those of you that can't count. That's me. So I'm just kind of filling people in. Centennial celebration of Route 66. So Route 66 actually passes by the prison. It's a couple blocks off of the steel yard over in Joliet. And then it actually runs right by, it becomes 55. Highway 55 runs right by the Grizzlies ballpark. So it was just a Route 66 matchup for these two. The field, it was beautiful. If you haven't gotten a chance, go to our social media, On the Rise and WRMN on Instagram. You can see all of the clips and stuff that I got dressed as Blues Brothers. I bought that tie day of. I'll tell people behind the scenes. I had to fit the look in. Everybody was like, "Do you have the hat?" No, because I wasn't going to cover up this beautiful hair. You know,
way too much flow for that.
Yeah, no, come on, you can't ruin it. But the rain did ruin the flow a little bit. We still survived. I got a chance to talk to Night Train Veck, the grandson of Bill Veck, former owner of the Chicago White Sox. His son, Bill Veck, his son Mike, went on to also own the St. Paul Saints. There's a great documentary called The Saint of Second Chances. I encourage you to go out and watch that and really just kind of learn about the Veck legacy in baseball, not just in the Chicagoland area, because I know there's a lot of people that put the Veck family down for what happened with Disco Demolition. They didn't mean for it to go that way. They really tell you a lot of the behind the scenes in the documentary, and you really feel for this family and what they've done for baseball. Like I said, not just in the Chicagoland area, but baseball as a whole. I mean, you think we have Savannah Bananas today, that the Chicago, that they came to Chicago last year, and our team from WRMN covered that. We're going to be hopefully covering them again this year. But that, I don't think the Savannah Bananas happen if it's not for the Veck family. We actually spoke a lot to Jesse Cole, and actually, you know what, this is something I should have asked Night Train Veck. Maybe we'll get a chance to have him on at some point and talk a little bit more with him. But that's something that Jesse Cole, the owner of the Savannah Bananas, talked about when it came to the bananas and where the inspiration came from to make it more of a show, make it entertaining, make it for the fans. And he cited what Bill Veeck has done for the game with an exploding scoreboard and a little bit of what Mike Veeck has done with the St. Paul Saints, wacky promotions, things to get people in the door, that kind of entertainment. So that was fun to get a chance to talk to Night Train. Class act, I have to apologize because the first time we recorded, he wasn't in the frame. I lined it up wrong. I didn't have a cameraman with me. And so I went and I tapped him on the shoulder again. I said, I'm so sorry, but will you come back and do this? The first interview we had was spot on. I was actually going to splice a couple of what he said in that first interview that we didn't really touch upon in the second interview. But it was really just a couple sentences here or there because I asked him the same questions. We did almost like a speed run that second interview. It went super smoothly. He's a class act. And one of the things we talked about is not just the fact that he's a star for being in that Saint of Second Chances, but Bill Murray in attendance. Are you a big Bill Murray fan?
Yeah, who doesn't? I mean, Bill Murray loves Xavier. So, like, how could you not be a Bill Murray fan?
Bill Murray was not doing any interviews. You saw a couple of them from ABC from the morning, but by the time the game got started in the afternoon, he wasn't available for interviews. I did get a chance to go up to him, but not able to do an interview. But just being in his presence was surreal. I loved him in everything I've seen him in. Of course, the classics are Ghostbusters and Groundhog Day, but yes, Zombieland. That would have been one of my questions to him. Was I would have worded something in there about like getting shot in the chest. You know, like is this prison game invigorating enough to be a shot in the chest?
My real question to you is, how do you feel about yellow batter's boxes?
Those were cool. Those were interesting, especially. So I had the orange microphone top because the Joliet Slammers are usually orange, but they went with a yellow and black theme because I actually got a chance to speak. This interview hasn't dropped yet, but Mike and Christine Johnson. Mike was a guard at the prison, and he gave the guard tours alongside his wife, Christine, who is a historian. And she talked about how the old uniforms were all yellow. Now, the Joliet Slammers and the Frontier League, they ended up going with a black because I guess the Historical Society Museum said that that's the colors. No, it was the reverse. So it was almost like they were wearing reverse retros out there on the field. If anybody knows that lineup from the NHL, you know, they take the colors and invert them basically. But the prisoners' uniforms were yellow. In fact, there was a board up above where the Grizzlies dugout was. That was like almost like a chalkboard in a way that they used to keep score up there. That wouldn't have worked on Thursday because the rain did come in, but they didn't have a scoreboard. That's my one gripe. We'll talk maybe a little bit more about that with Shep when we get him on. But we were talking about a couple of things that could be tweaked because it sounds like to me they're planning to do this again, or at least something wacky off the wall like a game in the prisons. So I'm excited to see what both the Frontier League, the city of Joliet, and I guess also the city of Joliet and the Slammers have in store for the future here. Because this was such a unique thing. You got to go in a couple of the prison walls, a couple of the barracks and stuff like that, kind of walk around some of the cell blocks. There were some things that were gated off. It was very cool. I will say one thing I would have preferred was if you had a guide, or at least somebody stationed at different posts to kind of tell you what was going on. They did have a couple of banners up, 77 food trucks. In fact, I think it should have been 66 food trucks for the 66th anniversary, but I believe they said the final total was 77 food trucks. And you walked into that food court area and it smelled so good. I wanted to eat everything.
Oh, I bet. I can only imagine. Honestly, I'm thinking about it right now. I was like, man, that would smell amazing. Yeah.
They have great food here at Wintrust too. So I'm definitely going to I had chicken tenders here yesterday. I'm definitely going to see what they have new as far as food items. Maybe we'll talk about that with somebody here. I don't know if Hannah knows about any of the new food items, but maybe we poke her for a little bit. But yeah, I mean, this was an incredible event that I can't wait to see them do again. Hopefully next year, hopefully sometime soon. No rain. You know, that's one of the things I was seeing online. People were saying, I'm so glad the rain actually came because this will maybe persuade them to do this again when there's better weather. You know, the turnout was incredible. I think they were for sure sold out. They had a bunch of general admission tickets, and general admission couldn't even see the field. Oh, wow. So, I mean, that was incredible as well. But yeah, they came out in droves basically. So that was a lot of fun. Hey, you're listening to AM 1410 WRMN. This is On the Rise. Myself, Mike Napolitano, and Dalton Cooper. I took over that last segment, but we're going to get some guests up in here to take over our next whole hour. We are live from Wintrust Field, where the Schaumburg Boomers have a 1 o'clock game against the Windy City Thunderbolts. So get on over here for that. Come and say hello to us. We'll be out walking the concourse. Thank you again to the Boomers for letting us do this. But we have a whole nother hour here on The Rise. We're filled with baseball for you. The White Sox, Munetaka Murakami, heck yeah. Southside Samurai, baby. We got all of that, plus Boomers and more right here on AM 1410 WRMN.
Before the weather gets too cold, it's time to finish up those outdoor jobs. That's why ComEd wants you to know that electricity can jump from a power line to you and to the tools you're using. So maintain a safe distance from any power lines. You can also call ComEd at 1-800-EDISON-1 to have those power lines de-energized the next time you do any work around them. Stay smart, stay safe, stay back. ComEd, powering lives.
There's danger out there. It lurks on highways and quiet neighborhood streets. It's more likely to kill you than a shark and more terrifying than the biggest snake. Distracted driving claims lives every day. Every notification, swipe, social post, video, or selfie while driving risks your life. So while you might think public speaking or the zombie apocalypse is scary, what's really terrifying and even deadly is distracted driving. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410. Elgin time, 11 o'clock.
With your news flash, I'm Ryan Gatenby. Brought to you by Cintas.
Hanover Township's third annual Kite Festival will be held May 9th from 10 a.m. to noon at Carl R. Hansen Woods Forest Preserve in Hoffman Estates. The free event celebrates Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month and the cultural history of kites. Families can fly kites, enjoy free activities, and visit educational displays from Crabtree Nature Center, along with food, a bounce house, and a special animal appearance from Brookfield Zoo, Chicago. Free kites will be available while supplies last. 2 juveniles have been arrested in connection with early Sunday morning gunfire in Elgin, according to police. Officers responded around 2:15 a.m. to reports of shots fired near Bowen Court and Regent Street, but no injuries were reported. Both suspects were later taken into custody and charged with multiple felonies, including aggravated discharge of a firearm and unlawful possession of a weapon. They are being held for detention hearings at the Kane County Juvenile Justice Center. Naperville's Kingsley Elementary PE teacher Kimberly Blytek has been named Illinois Elementary School PE Teacher of the Year by the Illinois Association for Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance. The award recognizes outstanding performance in physical education and student engagement. Blytek, a longtime District 203 educator, is known for leading programs like Field Day, Cardio Club, and a peer mentoring initiative that pairs students with special education peers. Kane County State's Attorney Jamie Mosser says federal agents who use pepper balls and chemical agents against protesters during a December immigration arrest in Elgin will not face criminal charges. Mosser says video appears to show at least one agent committing aggravated battery under Illinois law, but federal protections under the Supreme Clause prevent state prosecution. She called the actions reprehensible and urged federal officials to review the incident for possible discipline and training changes.
I'm Ryan Gatenby with your news flash.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this rush hour ad to keep you calm, which could help your driving. And science says therapy is great for a healthy mindset. So enjoy this 14-second session on us. I think you've done everything right and absolutely nothing wrong. In fact, anything that hasn't gone your way could probably be blamed on your father not being emotionally available because his father wasn't emotionally available, and so on. And now that you're calm and healing, you're probably driving better too.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-909-9696. 800-909-9696.
Progressive presents the Sports Flash on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN.
Both the Cubs and White Sox had the day off on Thursday. The Cubs start a series this afternoon hosting the Diamondbacks. 3-1 Colin Ray starts against Arizona's Zach Gallen. He's 1-1. The Cubs are hoping for good news on Dansby Swanson. He's listed as day-to-day with a lower body injury. Pitcher Daniel Palencia on the 15-day injured list. with a lat injury. The 19-12 Cubs have wins in 7 of 10 and 2 straight. Noah Schultz starts for the White Sox at San Diego tonight. Schultz 1-1 on the season. He'll face 3-1 Germán Marquez. 3 straight wins for the Sox, who sit 3 games under 500 at 14-17. Right fielder Everson Pereira on the 10-day injured list, dealing with a pec injury. Left fielder Brooks Baldwin remains out long-term with an elbow injury.
Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive. I'm Chuck Sanders on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN.
Progressive's Home Quote Explorer helps you easily find and buy the right coverage for you. It's everything you've always wanted. Well, I mean, as far as a website that lets you shop, quote, and buy insurance in one place. But hey, maybe...
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast, brought to you by KFC. A flood warning is in effect until 7 a.m. Monday for the listening area. This afternoon, mostly sunny with a high near 56. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 40. Looking ahead to Sunday, a chance of rain showers with partly sunny skies and a high near 67. Currently, it's 46 and clear. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
Hi, I'm Zoe, a personal stylist at Macy's Herald Square, and I live for our friends and family sale because I can say yes to the brands my customers have been eyeing, like BCBG, 30% off, Kendra Scott, 30% off, Steve Madden, Levi's, yep, 30 off. And yes, there's 15 off Macy's Beauty and Fragrance too. Yes, you can also sign up for Star Rewards and earn faster at Macy's Friends and Family today. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
When disaster strikes, flood or fire, every second counts. At Emergency Construction Group, they specialize in immediate response and same-day service for any residential, commercial, or industrial emergency across the Chicagoland area. With over 30 years of experience, they've got the expertise, manpower, and equipment to handle any size loss fast. They follow strict IICRC guidelines to restore your property the right way, the first time. Their team values transparency, constant communication, and strong ethical standards because your peace of mind matters. Licensed, bonded, and insured, they're here for you 24/7, 365 days a year. Call 855-4ECG now. That's 855-432-4669. Or visit their website at emergencyconstructiongroup.com and let Emergency Construction Group put your life back together one step at a time. That's Emergency Construction Group. Your satisfaction is their passion.
It's time to wake up. Yes! And lock in to On the Rise. Yes! With host Mike Napolitano.
Cub fans have every right to be disappointed if this Cubs team continues on the trajectory that they're on and they miss the playoffs or, at best, get a wild card spot. You are cooked at that point.
Mamma mia! Dalton Cooper.
Like, I would look out for my friends and be like, hey, if you're ranking a little bit, I'm gonna let you know. I feel like that's a good friend. I'd be like, hey, did you smell yourself, or did you maybe did you fart? But something doesn't smell right.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks! And Nick Johnston.
For the most part, to be fair, I don't want to completely, justify a sweep, but the Royals are red hot right now. Vinny Pasquantino might be Ted Williams reincarnated. I'm just kind of throwing that out there.
On WRMN 1410 AM, the voice of the Valley.
Here on AM 1410, Mike Napolitano and Dalton Cooper live from Wintrust Field here in Schaumburg ahead of the Boomers matchup with the Windy City Thunderbolts. And we are joined by the Deputy Commissioner for the Frontier League, Matt Shepardson. Matt, it's been an incredible week for you. You're running on no sleep, but we have to talk about some of the amazing things. First of all, the season starting in and of itself. We're still here in pregame, but the big house ball game. Tell me a little bit about what went into the preparation for that and how you think things went from the league's perspective.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Mike. It's good to see you. You've been following me around the entire Chicagoland area all week. The big house ball game, it was a huge lift by the Joliet Slammers, by the Joliet Historical Museum, the Route 66 Commission, the City of Joliet, County of Will. There were a lot of people, and then the corporate partners there as well. our streaming partner HTN flew in a broadcast team and installed a broadcast system in an old prison where just 48 hours earlier there was no data or power, right? So it was a big week, but it was exciting. The 5,500 to 6,000 people. I haven't seen a final scan number on it, but who were there, I think had a good time, and it was such a unique just environment. You were there, and to be inside those old limestone walls, first built during the Civil War, and then of course used as an active prison until 2002. It just the history, the haunting. It was definitely special, and it was a festival-like atmosphere all day. I think the players really enjoyed themselves. Wish the rain had stayed away a little longer, but welcome to Chicago in April. You never know what you're going to get.
I was going to say that's the first time I've seen that many people in that prison since the haunt was going on, but that's a little different because people are walking through. They're not sitting around and spectating and watching the game. And the city of Joliet and the surrounding area, the Chicagoland area, came out in droves for this game. And it was I kept saying the word unique because it was such a unique experience. And you talk about all the history. I mean, you're talking not just, what went on with the prisoners themselves building those walls, and then it, surviving or being built during the Civil War and being an underground railroad stop. And then you had so many different stories, whether they're, the ghost stories, but also Richard Speck and, John Wayne Gacy, who was brought there but didn't actually stay there because it was a general population prison. I mean, there's so much rich history going on within the walls. And then to add to that on the baseball side of things, it was just incredible. It was a perfect marriage of both what Joliet as a city kind of represents and, the baseball that calls it home. So I kind of asked this question to Night Train Vec, but I'll ask you as well. Are there any plans to do something similar to that, maybe make this a tradition? You won't get the centennial celebration for Route 66, but maybe you'll get the 125 year, 150 year going on, so on and so forth. So any kind of plans to do something like this going forward for the Frontier League too as a whole?
Yeah, that would definitely be up to the city of Joliet, the historical museum, and then the Slammers and any other teams. I can tell you, we've heard from other teams who want to participate in that or something similar in the future. The league's happy to support it in any way we can. We love to see our teams succeed. We love to see the big swings when they connect, and just the memories that were made. That's what we're about. We're in the memory making business, and baseball's our vehicle, but ultimately it's about those connections, those memories. And we love being part of things like that.
I was just going to say, just as a show, can we just put our hat in the ring, maybe to be on the advisory board of maybe like an all-star game kind of themes, maybe something around like the celebration, maybe summertime, maybe a home run derby, kind of like in a cornfield situation. I don't know, just something to play with.
We'll definitely keep those things in mind. I'm not sure I've got the juice to make anything actually happen along those lines, but we'll definitely keep it in mind.
We talked about a lot of balls hit over the fence there. There was a little bit of a small yard, right? There's not a whole lot of room to work with there. I compared it to the Field of Dreams games in Iowa, where everything was kind of going right into the corn, but it made for an exciting atmosphere, and you guys made it work. But were there a couple of things that you would maybe want to see done better? I mean, this was kind of, in some ways, the guinea pig. Would you want to see, if we were to go forward with something like this, any kind of additions to such a spectacle?
Napolitano trying to get me fired this morning. Wow. No, listen. I think if we had the time and ability to really build out a pro grade field that could last, that'd be an amazing thing, to use it over and over. So many challenges using an old decommissioned facility. So sure, there are things that you would hope in a perfect world you could do, but with resources as they are being, limited, it's not it's nothing short of miraculous what they pulled off to get that many people in there with as much support, with as much infrastructure, building the field out. I think there'll probably be stories they're not mine to tell right now, but about developing that field. There's a lot that could be done in the future, and to put a spotlight on Joliet. I was speaking with Joliet Mayor Terry Darcy, who just loved it, and he was ecstatic about the opportunity to spotlight Joliet. Put the positive spotlight on the city. There's a TV show that's filming there right now that was literally filming at the other side of the prison when we were loading in on Wednesday. But there's a lot going on, and I think everybody loves the community cooperation and the ability to, just shine a positive light on everything that's going on in the area.
Yeah, you talked about a little bit of the field development. Remind me, the company that did the field did a phenomenal job. It looked beautiful. What was I think they found Ford Field. Yeah. So I mean, from top to bottom, like you mentioned at the start, a lot of moving parts to make this happen. Even it did, and you said it, miracle. I mean, this was incredible to see. Going forward, we'll jump off of that topic and kind of talk a little bit about this Frontier League season. You guys have made a lot of changes within the last couple of years for improving the league. There's going to be a name change coming next year. What can you tell us is in store for the fans for this season of Frontier League baseball, as it's still called Frontier League baseball?
It is. So right off the bat, I'll just address that. We announced last week that this will be the last season playing as the Frontier League. We'll transition our name for the 2027 season to the National Association of Professional Baseball Clubs, National Association of Professional Baseball, taking up the historic moniker and really, just moving into an era that reflects the footprint and the growth and really the just much it's a new era, right? So we continue to look to grow. The first thing our fans will notice this year is that we're moving to a 102 game schedule this year, so we're adding 6 games for each team. With the way the calendar set out, it was a great time for us to experiment for the next few years to see how that 102 game schedule works. So it'll take us through Labor Day, which is traditionally how long our season would end anyway. Last year, of course, we added the round of playoffs or longer round of playoffs. So we'll be playing baseball through September, and we're excited about that. We don't have any new markets this season, but certainly it's not news, as I've said many times, not news to say that Montreal continues to be a real priority for us, as well as other markets that we're speaking with that can potentially be really exciting announcements for us to make in the next year or so.
Exciting. All-Star game in Florence this year with the Y'alls. We kicked it off with that prison game, like I said. Hopefully our Schaumburg Boomers here, we got the little bit of bias, can make another deep playoff run. We'll see you in the building a little bit more. We'd be remiss not to mention our hosts here. Did you have one more for Shep?
Yeah, honestly, I was just curious. With so much change obviously going on your end as well, and then you have kind of new ownership, with the Boomers and some other teams. Is there any kind of correlation, or do you guys ever have an adjustment period when new ownership comes in from your side of things? I was just maybe curious. I don't want to say peel back the curtain, but just how you handle that from your side of the table.
There's always adjustment just in terms of learning a new league for owner operators, getting them acclimated to the things we do, but also taking on board their suggestions and their outside experience. We've got a great group of owners and operators across the league who work well at cooperating with one another off the field. We say you guys are rivals on the field. You want to beat each other on the field, but we work together off. And the way that our league builds into front offices, we host meetings every year, develop development, business development, ideas, best practices, that sort of thing. So all 18 of our teams can share in what's working and maybe share in the things that didn't work so well to help other teams maybe identify and avoid some pitfalls. We're in a great place as a league, and we continue to address challenges together, and we continue to be in an era where we're looking to grow. But Rev comes in, Rev Entertainment, the new owner of the Schaumburg Boomers. They're not new to Partner League Baseball, and they're not new to Major League Baseball, being an arm of the Texas Rangers. So operating Globe Life already on the stadium, but also owning another MLB Partner League team, less than 30 miles from where we sit right now. It's not new to them. So our league is new, but operating at this level is not. And of course, they've kept on the entire Schaumburg Boomers front office. Brian Leiter, who was president of the Boomers, president of the board of directors of the league, has moved into kind of an executive consultancy role with Rev. So that one's a natural and easy, and they're great partners to work with.
We did get a chance to speak to, so that the team you're referring to that's not too far from here, also owned by Rev, is the WRMN's very own King County Cougars, playing in the American Association of Professional Baseball. We did get a chance to talk to the commissioner, Josh Schaub, not too long ago, and he said that the schedules seem to eerily start lining up between the two leagues, whether that is with the playoffs, but also with the All-Star games. There's of course a lot of I wouldn't want to say like collaboration between the two leagues, but I know that there's talks to maybe one day have what would be then the National Association versus the American Association in some forms, maybe with an All-Star game. How closely are you working with something like that, or even entertaining ideas like that?
Well, like I said earlier, we're always open to ideas. We're focused on what we're doing as a league right now, and we're focused internally and on our internal growth. Of course, Josh Schaub, Josh Buchholz, their commissioner, deputy commissioner. We see one another. We have similar or the same tech partners in a lot of ways. We see each other at meetings, and we have a good working relationship. But really, we're focused on what we're doing on the inside, and not so much on those external issues at this moment.
I'd love to see it, though. I would love to see. I think a lot of the fans would too. Maybe an All-Star game crossing over between the two, because especially here in the Chicagoland area, those are the two predominant leagues that we have here. Whether that is with the King County Cougars and the Chicago Dogs and the American Association, plus you want to factor in Chicagoland area, you've got Milwaukee Milkmen and the Gary South Shore Railcats. But then, of course, the three teams here, whether that is the Schaumburg Boomers, the Joliet Slammers, who we just saw at the prison, and then the Windy City Thunderbolts. And I know you're always running around the Chicagoland area to cover those three. What does your travel look like? Because I always ask this question of Commissioner Steve Tassler, because I know he's traveling a lot as well. What does your schedule kind of look like?
Right now, I think I'm looking at roughly 37,000 miles this season of travel. So it'll be a lot of moving around. I may do some adjustments to try to roll some of that back, but I'll be in every ballpark multiple times throughout the year. I'm lucky. I live in the western suburbs of Chicago, so there are three teams here. Within the 35 miles of my house. Each team's within 35 miles of my house, so I get to be home for those trips and see my family and my dog. But we understand what our footprint means, being from Pearl, Mississippi, which is a suburb of Jackson in the south, all along the Mississippi River to the Atlantic Ocean and up into Quebec City is the farthest north. But with our three Canadian teams, it's constant travel. I will never keep up with Steve Tassler. That man travels an amazing amount, and I just, the more I know, he used to be in my role. I stepped into his role, and the more I learn about the things that he has done, in this will be his 30th season in the league, but I think 18 in the front office. It's amazing. It's absolutely astounding the things that he did and continues to do for our league.
It's been a while since we've had him on, but we've gotten a chance to see him at a number of events. And yeah, that man, it's like almost trying to be like, where's Waldo with him? Because he's everywhere. So big props to him. So
when I was coaching the Slammers, there were times when I would see him in 3 different cities in a week, and just you're like, how have you gotten all these places and not following? And he was in 3 cities in between. So I'd see him in our office as we're about to leave on a road trip, and then I'd see him in the next city, and then I'd see him 3 days later in the next city, and he'd been a different city every day. But really, that is a lot of it. I tend to do a little more 2 days in a town rather than day to day, but it just depends on how the schedule lays out and where we need to be to address either help support our teams, unique promotions or events, newsworthy events. If I'm needed on the technical side of things somewhere, you really don't know. We have a map, a plan mapped out, but it changes a lot once things start happening. And then we get to the last 3 weeks of the season and it's chasing playoff clinching. So we try to be in spots where, important games, records, that sort of thing might be happening. So it just becomes looking at what happened the night before and figuring out where we need to be that day.
that's crazy on the fly scheduling, but we got time for. Do you have anything else?
I mean, the only other thing I think of was when you were talking about doing promotions and things like that. If you were to put your fan hat on, do you have like a favorite promotion that a team is running this year in the Frontier League, or maybe one that you're really looking forward to the most?
Especially because we see a lot of teams go with a type of promotion and a rebrand, and especially in independent baseball.
Yeah, I don't think on a family show I can say the one that I'm most interested in, which is a Mississippi Mud Monsters promotion. You guys can look that up. Sponsored by Budweiser. Okay. I'm not sure I'm allowed to say it. The Evansville Otters are going to be giving away an Andy McCauley bobblehead. Andy's a great manager there. Looking forward to that. The Calarco brothers are going to have a Step Brothers treatment on a bobblehead here. That's going to be interesting. There's going to be a Back to the Future night here in Schaumburg. That should be fantastic. I love watching the drone shows, the fireworks shows. There are a lot of community events. Windy City always does a great job with Organ Donation Network in Illinois. That's always a really special night. There are so many across the league that it's you just found it over there, and Swamp Saturday. Well, Swamp Rear End Saturday. Okay. Where Mississippi Mud Monsters, the rumor has it, are going to be playing in shorts.
Oh.
And then auctioning said shorts after the game. Giving away seat cushions, and it should just be a fun day.
I don't know if I want to bid on one of those. The Bermuda shorts that the White Sox wore back in the day, it was kind of cool, but
again, I said the one I'm most interested in. I know David Kerr, the assistant general manager, Andrew Seymour, the general manager at Mississippi, have put a lot of thought into their promotions this year. So I'm looking forward to see what they do. But no, everybody's got something on the schedule that we want to cover, we want to be at. Unfortunately, I can't be everywhere. But we have a ton of Towers nights. There are just so many things across the league that are meaningful beyond just fun, and those are the ones I really love to try to be at, because again, what we do in the Frontier League is so much more than just about baseball. Baseball is the center of what we do. But what we do is really about family, about community, about offering that environment for an affordable activity for friends, young families to come and make those memories, but then also to give back, to really be anchors for each of our communities. That's important to us. It's in our DNA as a league. And so those are the promotions that really most speak to me and the ones I love to be at.
And you know a thing or two about family. You told me that your son's doing well in photography, and he's going to be working with the Frontier League a little bit during this summer, this season. So congratulations on that. I want to thank you again for getting us into the Big House ball game. This is the man that made it all happen for us here. Otherwise, WRMN would not have had the coverage that we did. So Shep has done a lot for us. I want to give back to you. I know you're a big energy drink guy. This is one that sponsors the Haunt podcast for me.
All right.
It's Frankenfuel. Hopefully, maybe we'll see a WRMN sponsorship in the near future. But try it. Let me know what you think about it. You might be on number 4 for the day, energy drinks.
I'm on 3. Yes, I'm on my 3rd. Also in genre, I'm on my 3rd ghost of the day. So Frankenfuel will open up Frankenfuel for number 4. Ghost not yet a sponsor of the Frontier League, but again, we're working on that one.
That is awesome. Shep, thank you again so much. It's such a pleasure to talk to you. And I promise I'll stop following you around this weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for tuning in. We've got another half an hour of jam-packed info here for you on AM 1410 WRMN. You're listening to On the Rise. Matt Shepperson was just joining us, the Deputy Commissioner of the Frontier League. Thank you again to him. You're listening to myself, Mike Napolitano, and Dalton Cooper. We'll be right back with more baseball. Live.
Progressive presents the Sports Flash on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN.
The Cardinals beat the Pirates 10-5 in Pittsburgh Thursday. That completes a 4-game sweep. J.J. Weatherholt led off with a home run against Paul Skeens, who got tagged for 5 runs over 5 innings. 4 of those were earned. Pittsburgh's losing streak hit 5. Alec Burleson finished with 3 hits and drove in 3 runs for the Cards. Weatherholt, Pedro Pajas, and Nolan Gorman each with 2 hits. The Cards head back home to welcome the Dodgers for a series. The Cubs start a series this afternoon hosting the Diamondbacks. 3-1 Colin Ray starts against Arizona's Zach Gallen. He's 1-1. The 19-12 Cubs have wins in 7 of 10 and 2 straight. Noah Schultz starts for the White Sox at San Diego tonight. Schultz 1-1 on the season. He'll face 3-1 German Marquez. 3 straight wins for the Sox, who sit 3 games under 500 at 14-17.
Save big when you bundle auto and home, renters, or condo with Progressive. I'm Chuck Sanders on News Talk Radio 1410 WRMN.
How was your break? It was great until I stopped for gas. Prices have gone up almost $1 with no end in sight. I might have to start watching how much I drive.
That's exactly why I use Upside. I never pay full price for gas with the free Upside app.
Upside?
Yes, Upside. It's the free app that gives you cash back just for buying the gas you're already buying. So even with the rising gas prices, I'll never have to limit how much I drive.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Just last year, I made over $200 with the Upside app.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app right now.
Download the free Upside app to earn cash back on the gas you're already buying. Use promo code THRIVE25 for an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code THRIVE25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first fill-up. That's THRIVE25.
Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
Hey, I've been thinking about replacing my windows, but I have no idea where to start. Isn't it a huge hassle?
Not with Window Concepts. We make the whole process simple, from your first consultation to professional installation.
Really? I always thought it would take forever and cost a fortune.
Actually, we offer premium, energy-efficient windows at affordable prices and even flexible financing options, including 0% for 18 months.
Okay, well, that definitely helps. But what about quality?
We've been a family-owned business for over 40 years, and we take pride in expert craftsmanship and honest service. Plus, our windows are designed to improve comfort and lower your energy bills.
So you handle everything?
Everything. We start with a free consultation, give you a custom quote, and then install your windows with precision and care.
That sounds easy.
It is. Window Concepts, we keep it simple, no gimmicks, just great windows and great service.
All right, I'm in. How do I get started?
Call Window Concepts today for your free quote, and let's turn your dream windows into reality. Call 847-621-2680.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast, brought to you by KFC. A flood warning is in effect until 7 a.m. Monday for the listening area. This afternoon, mostly sunny with a high near 56. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 40. Looking ahead to Sunday, a chance of rain showers with partly sunny skies and a high near 67. Currently, it's 46 and clear. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
Hi, I'm Zoe, a personal stylist at Macy's Herald Square, and I live for our friends and family sale because I can say yes to the brands my customers have been eyeing, like BCBG, 30% off, Kendra Scott, 30% off, Steve Madden, Levi's, yep, 30 off. And yes, there's 15 off Macy's Beauty and Fragrance too. Yes, you can also sign up for Star Rewards and earn faster at Macy's Friends and Family today. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Welcome back to AM 1410 WRMN. You're listening to On the Rise live from Wintrust Field in Schaumburg, Illinois, where the Schaumburg Boomers will be playing a 1 o'clock game with the Windy City Thunderbolts. It's myself, Mike Napolitano, and Dalton Cooper. And we have Andrew Scheid running the board for us. He'll be jumping in here for some White Sox talk, as the White Sox have had a big week. Are they back? That is the question, because this team is absolutely buzzing right now. A sweep over the Angels, and they continue that winning streak last night with a big win over the San Diego Padres. They had a 3-run shot from Munetaka Murakami, who solidifies his home run lead here in the MLB. Not just for the White Sox. 13 home runs, leads the league, and this man, they were worried about his strikeout rate, but he is absolutely raking the ball right now. Andrew, what are your thoughts on the White Sox so far this season? We're about a month into this season now, and it's looked promising.
Yeah, my big thing is one word: surprising. Surprising, and in a way, shock. Because when you look at the past 2 seasons, at this point in the season, the White Sox didn't even have 10 wins under their belt at this point, and we're already at 15. So a major improvement. And yeah, how many teams are kicking themselves in the hindquarters right now for passing on Murakami?
That's true. I just saw a video about that the other day, talking about how, I guess, the Mets and I don't know if it was the Dodgers, might have been the Yankees, passed up on him. There were a couple other medium or small market teams that even looked at him that tend to spend more money than the White Sox. The Padres themselves, yeah, and here he is playing the Padres right now. So, I mean, we're talking about a guy that, yes, they definitely passed up on. The White Sox got the steal. What I'm worried about is there's a lot of discourse online. I think it's crazy talk right now, but there's a lot of discourse because we know historically the White Sox tend to not pay their players based on, what other teams are paying in the league. So do they offer Murakami this big contract that he's probably going to earn by the end of this season? Or do they, unfortunately, like they do with a lot of other prospects, flip him for draft picks and such?
Well, I think the big hoopla right now is that he's got a 2-year contract, and if they do have the labor stoppage next year, then when they came back, he would be a free agent, and they wouldn't necessarily even have the chance to sign him. So that's kind of the stalemate they're at right now. Is like, do you sign him now, or do you wait to see what he produces? Because right now he's going to be on pace to hit 35, 40 home runs, and you're going to have to pay him $30 million a year, or he's going to leave. So I think that's the waiting game that the White Sox are playing right now. But I mean, I was pretty excited about Noah Schultz last night. I don't know about you, but Noah Schultz coming up looks really good. If they can get some pitching, they could contend. I mean, to Andrew's point, it would be surprising if they could hang around and get some pitching.
I predicted an 81 season. I know a lot of people 500. That's a 20 game jump from last year, basically. I know a lot of people were estimating just a little under that, maybe in the 70s. But I can honestly see this team with a weaker Central Division, maybe going a little over 500, even if everybody stays healthy. I know that's been a big concern of previous White Sox teams. I think we're turning the page. I think this is a new leaf for the White Sox. And yeah, if health doesn't have to be a factor. I mean, like you said, Noah Schultz getting his second win. We got a chance to talk to his dad a couple of weeks ago during his debut. I mean, the camaraderie, the community around the White Sox right now has just been super exciting to not only be a part of, but to watch from the sidelines, to watch from the TV. An 8-2 win, like we said, against San Diego last night, and a sweep of the Angels. There was that rain delay game. Our correspondent Tony Tilo Lopez was out for that one. Then there was the game I was at, the halfway to Halloween night, in which Drew Romo, first catcher in White Sox history to hit not only a multi-home run game, but each of his home runs came from both sides of the plate. He's a switch hitter. Never been done before in White Sox history as a catcher.
I think it was like the 8th player in MLB history to have his first 2 home runs be from each side of the plate too.
Yeah.
I think. So that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, first home run and second home run. A lot of milestones for him that night. The White Sox get the win against one of the best pitchers. In fact, the best pitcher ERA-wise in the league right now. That was Jose Soriano. And I mean, he was at a .24 ERA, 5-0 on the season. Sox hand him his first loss. A huge effort from the team. You get another home run from Colson Montgomery, but he wasn't actually the hero until the very next day, which is a year to the date. Wednesday's game was a year to the date that Colson Montgomery was sent back down to the minor leagues to work on his hitting. And a year later, he's hitting the walk-off in the 10th inning. And I mean, just a sweep of the Angels. It was great to see. Andrew, what were your thoughts from this last week? Because a couple weeks ago, we were talking about how this White Sox team, when they give up more than 5, when they're scoring more than 5 runs, they're giving up more than any other team in the league. But when they're holding teams to fewer than 5 runs, they're also scoring the least. So there's those frustrating, neck and neck games that the White Sox just weren't getting the wins, getting the results. And now it seems like they are.
I mean, yeah, and that's the biggest thing. And players have alluded to it in post-game interviews that they did not have the start to the season they would have wanted. There were a few games that they feel they should have won early on. But right now they're just vibing off of, how they're feeling. I mean, and we see it in the dugout when you're watching games. Apparently, Murakami and Montgomery have some special handshake going already. And that's a cool thing to see him already interacting with players without his translator next to him is an amazing thing. He's coming into his own as a MLB ball player.
Yeah, the White Sox just released a little special from his translator yesterday, talking about how he wants to be around to help, but kind of give him his space and let him, get adjusted to the team, and also practice his English and learn the culture and share his own culture too, and not have the translator hanging on him at all times. He also has that special handshake you mentioned with Colson Montgomery. He's got a special bow at the end of wins with Miguel Vargas. So it's an exciting time for baseball on the South Side. Before we continue on with the baseball talk, and we'll jump it back to Andrew in just a second, I want to welcome our next guest joining us. She's in the room currently with us. She is the in-game host and entertainment for not only the Schaumburg Boomers, but also the Chicago Wolves, who are still in the playoffs. You have a very busy day today. Please welcome, for the first time in person to the show, we've seen her in a lot of interviews, Hannah Arbitman.
Hi, I'm so excited to actually be in person. I didn't realize we've never done this all together in one place before, so really cool.
We've had you over the phone a couple times for the studio side of things. Most of the time we're interviewing you on scene because you're at everything, and that's no different from today. Tell me a little bit about your schedule for today.
So this is actually the most commonly asked question in my career, I think, is what happens when the schedules overlap, and I normally say they don't. But today I'm hosting a preseason baseball game and a postseason hockey game. So we have the Boomers game starting here shortly at 1 p.m. and puck drop for the Wolves is 7 p.m. So I'll be kind of all over the greater Chicagoland area today.
Pre and post season, so nothing regular about what Hannah is doing right now. So, I mean, it's been incredible to work alongside of you in a lot of different facets. We got to speak to Dominic Fensori, who scored the overtime winner for the Wolves to extend this series at least to a Game 4. We'll get one tomorrow, but tonight's game, what are you expecting from the Allstate Arena, the fans that are turning out there, and the Wolves performance themselves.
Mike, this will be the first home weekend playoff game for the Chicago Wolves, I believe, since they won the Calder Cup back in 2022. So I'm really excited to see all the fans. I really hope they show out. No reason not to. It's a Saturday night. Come on now. So yeah, I'm hoping that the All-State is rocking, and I am really looking forward to it.
That's incredible. I didn't know that stat, but yeah, if you think about it, last year, a little bit shorter of a playoff run than they would have expected from this Wolves team as they ran into the Ice Hogs. No Ice Hogs in these playoffs, but they do have to get through a tough Texas team and then probably inevitably go through a Grand Rapids team that has been lights out all year. Did you have anything on the on the Wolves performance? I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, but now that we have Hannah here.
No, I don't know what game you're going to get. Are you going to get the 0-2 game you got in game one, or are you just going to have the all, no holds barred game two that you got 5-4? So I'm going to be curious to see how tight of a checking game it is. But to Hannah's point, it should be a ruckus crowd. That's what I think I'm most excited about, is to see that place rocking.
It's always a time at the All-State Arena. You have the indoor fireworks. You got Wayne Messmer singing the anthem. You've got Hannah on the microphone. And then, of course, first and foremost, I guess I put it towards the end, but the product actually on the ice is pretty good too. So that should be fun. Talk about this preseason game. We saw the Boomers on the road that first game. Then they came home and played a Joliet Slammers team that was coming off of their big house ball game on Thursday. The stands were packed yesterday. I know part of that might have been a little bit because there were a bunch of schools bringing field trip students here, but good turnout for these preseason games, especially with the crazy Chicago weather not always cooperating.
Yeah, it's about 60 degrees today. I still am expecting quite a few people to show up for this. I know folks are really excited for baseball to be back, just as I am. So I really think we'll get a good turnout today, regardless of whether this is preseason, regular season, whatever it is. The Boomers always draw a good crowd.
You had a cool new in-between inning promotion yesterday, which was Cars themed. If anybody's seen the movie Cars, Lightning McQueen, ka-chow. You got to watch two kids race. Tell me a little bit about not only that, but like what the Boomers and you have in store for fans this year.
I mean, personally, just bringing more energy to the ballpark every day and coming up with new things to say, new ways to run promotions, that kind of thing on my end. Obviously, our game presentation team has worked really hard this offseason to come up with new ways to keep fans engaged during the game. Entertainment, obviously, Mike mentioned the cars. That's a forklift race. For those of you that weren't here, and hopefully you guys will get to see that during the season. It was super fun. I think having older kids in that would be really entertaining as well. Just very chaotic, but very fun to watch for sure.
Trying to fit them in there with the older kids. I can only imagine. We just had Deputy Commissioner Matt Shepardson on, and he talked a little bit about the promotions that are coming for the Frontier League as a whole and what he's excited about. He did mention the Step Brothers theme, Calarco Brothers bobblehead that's coming for the Boomers June 19th this year. So tell me a little bit about what you're excited for as far as whether it's the giveaways. I know you love the theme nights, but what are you looking forward to?
I was just about to say my favorite theme night every season, every year is country night. So always looking forward to that one. Breaking out my cowboy boots tonight for those of you that will be in attendance at the All-State Arena. So yeah, love country night. Really looking forward to it. We'll have Austin Melissa here from 99.5. I listen to them every day and I somehow forget the radio station. But they're supposed to be here, so it'll be a great turnout. I believe that's later in the summer, but I'm already very excited about it.
We got a chance at Banana Ball to catch up with Scotty K from 99.5. So friends of the show here and great radio station. I'm not the biggest country fan, but they make it entertaining, and I'm slowly getting into country. I don't know if maybe I got to blame you for that one.
I think you know Windy City Smokeout. Let's take you.
I've heard it's a time.
It is a time. We'll take you. We'll take you Saturday night.
Okay.
So little Jordan Davis, we'll get you figured out. Yeah, get you a nice hat too to accent the whole look. Yeah.
Really good at, I think, transition artists. He's not too country.
Yeah.
That's what I really like about him. But I also do really like country music. So
that's fair. I am like I'm getting into the pop country, I guess is what I would say. That's my Mamma Mia for this week is, oh boy, here we go. Here goes Mike getting into another music genre. But we just gave Shep a Frankenfuel energy drink. You might need one because you're running around all day today here too. But I guess my question is like, how do you do it?
Listen, lots of coffee. Started 1 cup, have another on waiting in the car. Already drank one this morning, so I'm on coffee cup number 2 of the day, and it's not even noon. I don't know. I think the adrenaline of it all keeps me going. It's really exciting. I truly have always dreamed of a day where I get to host 2 different sports, and it's finally here. So I'm stoked.
That is awesome. I know you'll have a very busy summer with the Boomers, maybe a little bit busier spring going into summer with the Wolves if they can continue to make this playoff push. But what other kind of sports things around the Chicagoland area? You're always popping up in something, whether it was a rugby game last year, you've done a couple of chillier events when it came to the frozen confines. I always want to say Frozen 4, but the frozen confines at Wrigley Field. Do you have anything kind of special that you have your eye on or in the works?
I mean, the Olympics would be really cool.
We all would love that.
Yeah, nothing planned yet. I'll keep that kind of a secret for now, but yeah.
Awesome. Well, Hannah, I know you have a busy day. We'll let you get going. Did you have any thoughts? I don't know if you've gotten a chance to see any pro baseball going on thus far between the White Sox or the Cubs, and your thoughts on how they've been doing.
I will say I went to a Cubs spring training game out in Arizona back in March. It was one of the last ones, and I had to leave around the 5th inning because I was not very entertained. So that's what I'll say about that. Haven't really been following much professional baseball in terms of the MLB, but yeah, that's all my insight, unfortunately.
We'll check back in July. July is when baseball season really starts to matter, so that's when we'll check back in. Yeah.
And I know Mike is a bigger Sox fan, not a Cubs fan at all, so I have no shame in saying that on here.
I will say.
How can you tell? I don't know.
I do have a streak going. I've been to the last 2 Sunday games. I've been to the Cubs, and then I went to the Sox. So I've been to back-to-back Sunday extra inning games. So maybe tomorrow we can continue that streak. We'll see.
There you go. Well, I mean, you heard it. Cubs preseason out in spring training, not entertaining, which is why you can listen to the White Sox right here on AM 1410 WRMN every home and away game, courtesy of ESPN 1000 and our lovely partnership with them. So, Hannah, thank you again for jumping on. It's a pleasure to get you in person, and we'll enjoy the whole festivities here at Wintrust Field. I want to thank the whole staff here, including yourself, for letting us come in and do this craziness.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming in. It was a lot of fun to be on this show, actually, and I hope you guys enjoy the game out there today.
Yeah, we'll see you tonight.
Yes, thank you. Oh, yeah, and tonight, yeah.
And tonight,
So awesome. We're going to jump right back into a little bit more Cubs, but it was good to see you as always, and we'll see you out there on the field for sure. We do have to talk about, as much as we just said I'm a Sox fan, we do have to talk a little bit of Cubs just before we go here, because they have been doing some incredible things as well. Last week we were talking about that 10-game win streak. Did get snapped. They lost a couple of games to the Dodgers out west, but when you're looking at this Cubs lineup, Dalton, is PCA back? Is he not as much of a bust that people were, I think, way too quickly assuming during that little slump period?
I mean, he's been a lot better. I mean, his on-base percentage against left-handers has been really good. He just hasn't had as much power against right-handed hitting, but that's been coming around as well. I just think it just takes time. I mean, you saw it kind of with the World Baseball Classic too. Like, he had some spurts. He had some moments where he was, a big spark plug for Team USA. So it was about this time last year where he started to really get hot and kind of be, kind of raise his play to that superstar level that, some people may not have seen in him. But he's been a lot better as of late, and I mean, I think it's just going to continue. The whole team, I mean, when the whole team is hot, I mean, they really can't do no wrong right now if you're Craig Counsell. Like, everybody's hitting, everybody's playing their parts. The lineup is 11, 12 deep, and I mean, when your lineup is that deep, it's really hard to make a bad decision with these guys.
Yeah, so the Cubs, they went on that 10-game win streak. Then they lose 3 in a row, so they lost 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers. They lose that first game against San Diego, but then come back and beat the Padres twice to take that series. They get a win last night against Arizona at home. They'll continue at home with 2 more games against Arizona today and tomorrow, and then a 4-game series against Dalton's Cincinnati Reds. But before I turn it back over to Dalton, Andrew, have you seen much from the Cubs? What are your thoughts, and is PCA the real deal for you? And what other bright spots have you seen from this Cubs team?
Well, I think PCA is the real deal. I think he just hit a slump there for a while, which I think every ball player is allowed to have that every once in a while. They're not going to be perfect all the time. And that's why the Cubs extended him as long as they did, because they didn't want the chance of the Dodgers or the Angels, someone else picking him up when he hit free agency. But yeah, this Cubs team, I mean, I don't want to say it's a downside, but their pitching staff is not existent. Like, when you have so many pitchers on the IL, and, shout out to my mother, she always reminds me of this, what are we supposed to do? But, the Cubs have depth. Now, I'm not saying they have the depth as of the LA Dodgers, but they do have depth, and it's there, and they're learning to work with it. Now, the one thing I did not like seeing recently was Dansby Swanson going down. That's just another one of your key players going down with an injury. Hopefully it's nothing too serious and he can come back before too long. But it's just right now this Cubs team is an injury-plagued team as of right now.
I think Nico was hurt too at some point, right?
I think Nico had a pinched neck yesterday, or pinched nerve in his neck, I think is what he left the game earlier. Is that who you're referring to, or did Dansby get hurt too?
Dansby got hurt, I think, 2 or 3 games ago, and he's been day-to-day since with a lower body injury. And then you're right, I think Nico went out yesterday with the neck thing. So it's like this Cubs team it's just one injury after another. And I don't know what they're doing, but they're still pulling it out, which is the amazing thing with all these key guys being on the IL.
No doubt. And especially with this big homestand, I mentioned 4 games against Cincinnati coming up. You've got 2 games against Arizona. Those 2 games here this weekend, both 1:20 starts, then 3 6:40 starts Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday against Cincinnati, and then Thursday a 1:20 start. Looks like it'll be Imanaga and Boyd for this series, and then Cabrera, Taillon, Ray, and Imanaga for that Cincinnati series. Like we mentioned, the pitching is injured. White Sox fans know the injuries can really kill your momentum and close your window for championships or playoffs faster than you expected. So the fact that the Cubs are still winning games is huge. They're going to have to go up against a tough Cincinnati Reds team. Dalton, I'll throw it to you now. Like I said, your thoughts on that 4-game series and how crucial it's going to be for both sides.
Well, I mean, it is pretty early, still early in the year, so I don't know how crucial it's going to be for division. But I mean, I think it's just maybe the psychological part of it, if anything, just the mental side of baseball. But I'll be there at least for one of the games coming up in that series for sure. I think I'm going to go to the Tuesday game. But I think right now you guys keep alluding to it, and everybody kind of knows it right now. Like, the key to the Cubs' success is their bullpen. Like, can they tread water? Can they, a lot of the guys that they're using right now, no one has ever heard of. And the other side of the thing for the Cubs too is there's not really anybody in the farm system to come save you right now. So you're going to either figure it out with free agents and like people on the streets, or you're going to have to figure it out with what you got to work with. So I think that's going to be the key for the Cubs. I mean, luckily their offense is the Hubman. They've been scoring runs pretty well and at will basically for the most of the year. So that's kind of how I see they're going to have to get it done. So it'll be interesting to see when Cincinnati comes in, because Cincinnati, some people will say, are kind of fugazi. So we'll see what happens.
The Cubs will go on the road after that homestand during the week on the weekend to face the Texas Rangers, 7:05 on Friday, 6:05 next Saturday, and then 1:35 p.m. next Sunday. But as for the upcoming White Sox schedule, we'll transition back into them. They'll be on the road for a little bit as well. They'll continue on with this series against San Diego out in San Diego tonight at 7:40, a 3:10 game Sunday, and then a 3-game set with those Los Angeles Angels that they just swept. 8:38 p.m. starts on Monday and Tuesday, and then a 3:07 start on Wednesday for the White Sox. Due up today, Sean Burke. Tomorrow it'll be Kay, and then Martin, Fetty, and Schultz for that Angels series. And then the White Sox come home Mother's Day weekend to face the Seattle Mariners. Big dumper, Cal Raleigh, and the Mariners come to town. That's going to be a huge. Do you think they'll get an SAS promotion for Big Dumper at some point?
I don't want any part of that question.
We'll have to see. But Seattle 6:40 on Friday, 6:10 Saturday, and then a Mother's Day matinee, 1:10. Mother's Day manatee, excuse me.
Yeah,
manatee game, right? So should be a busy week for the White Sox. Real quickly, I want to get, Andrew, your final thoughts on the White Sox going into this next week. And like we said, they've been playing well. They've won, I believe it's 3 out of their last 4 series, and one of those was a sweep. I think it's 12 out of the last 4.
Yeah, and here's the thing with that, and I'll end it with this, is this sustainable? Is this something we're going to see when we come back and look at this in June, July? Are they going to still be playing like this? That's the big question, and that's what I'm waiting to see myself.
No doubt. Yeah, that was one of the questions I asked specifically about Munetaka Murakami as we're a month into his young career. I think I asked it to Will Venable. I said, is this sustainable for him? Is he kind of acclimating himself to MLB life? And everything seems to be, all signs are green, all signs are a go, and that is the case. So we'll see as White Sox baseball rolls on. Like I said, you can catch all of the White Sox games right here on AM 1410 WRMN. We got you your Cubs talk. We talked about the Joliet Slammers in the prison game. We talked about the Boomers and their start to the season here live at Wintrust Field. Thank you again to the Boomers staff. Thank you again to Andrew for running the board. Thank you to Deputy Commissioner Matt Shepherdson of the Frontier League for jumping on with us. Thanks to my co-host Dalton here for joining me on this crazy adventure. We hope to do a lot more live events like this from location. The studio is fun, but when we can do some stuff like this, I think the viewers will enjoy, the listeners as well. Thank you again to the listeners and the viewers for tuning in, and get out here. Go see some Boomers baseball, followed by some Wolves hockey tonight. The Fire are also at home, like we mentioned earlier. We've covered Sky and Kentucky Derby. Yes, follow us on all the socials. That's On the Rise on Instagram and Facebook, and WRMN on both of those platforms as well. You can find our individual accounts from there. But as for us here from On the Rise, River Media Network Sports, Fox Sports, WRMN AM 1410, it's been another great Saturday. We'll talk to you next week.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena